Charter Local Edition with your host, Rose Caiazzo.
Today we're at NACO, the National Association of County Officials. Visiting with us today is Teton County Commissioner Paul Vogelheim. Welcome.
Good morning, Rose. How are you?
Good, very well. Thank you. Tell us a bit about your county and how long you've been a county commissioner.
I've been a county commissioner for the last 8 years here in Teton County. And first I was appointed, and then I've run through 2 election cycles.
Okay, and a bit more about the county itself?
Well, Teton County is pretty unique in terms of the ownership of the land. 97% of Teton County is owned by the federal government. Okay. So we just have roughly 3% of the county that, as local electeds, that we're responsible for. But they're critical areas, and of that, roughly 78,000 acres that we're responsible for, already 25,000 under conservation easements. So we only can really mess up only 50,000 acres roughly in terms of our decisions on land use.
Sure. And how did you first get involved in politics? Was there something about your father that...
Oh, very good. So I was approached by the Republican Party, asked to run roughly 9 years ago. I was driving down the road with my dad, and my dad, I said, "Dad, Republican Party's reached out to me and asked me to consider running for a vacancy, Teton County Commission. And what do you think?" I said, and his response was, "Well, this life is just all about service." And with that, I threw my name in. There were 13 other folks that also applied, and somehow I made it through the process and became a commissioner, appointed first round.
Wonderful. And there are so many different groups in Teton County to work with, town, county, state, and federal. How is it that you're able to create collaborative relationships with these entities?
Well, I think one of the themes of this conference that's going on is a way that we can showcase the interagency cooperation that you're referencing. It's fascinating to sit there and think of a small community of 22,000 in the county. But we have over 4 million visitors in the summertime, and of course visitors in the winter through the ski resort. But somehow we have to be able to respond to emergency situations, and we need to have that interagency cooperation. And so as we're talking about that local government is collaborating with federal agencies, many counties kind of go, "That's not possible." But we're here this week to kind of showcase, and we saw this really well demonstrated yesterday as we went out to Grand Teton National Park. They rolled out the red carpet for roughly 80 commissioners as we had a tour behind the scenes, how the infrastructure works at the park. But the one that really stood out was going to Jenny Lake Ranger Station, and that's where everything's staged for rescues. And we have an extreme climate here, and we have extreme athletes and extreme adventurers that come attracted by the Tetons. And so the staging area for going up on a rescue, and what the rangers talked about was that they could not do it alone, and how they needed to work very closely with the Sheriff's Department, Teton County Sheriff's Department, with Teton County Search and Rescue, with the Forest Service, other agencies. But it's that collaboration that allows us to respond to emergencies. It also, we try to foster that a little bit with the county commissioners host every month a breakfast, interagency breakfast with our federal partners. And we reference them as federal partners, as we can kind of come together and go, okay, what are the issues that we all are challenged by? And so that helps foster that having that solid relationship helps foster that interagency cooperation.
Right. And how long have you been doing these breakfasts?
We've been doing it for at least the last 7 or 8 years. Mm-hmm. And they've been very, very helpful. And I don't know of any other county, and again, we're unique in terms of the public lands that are the dominant in our county, but we need each other. And but it all starts with relationships.
Right. So what are your priorities here in Teton County?
We have some unique challenges being in a mountain resort area, and the 2 challenges that our board has recognized and that we're trying to help facilitate solutions. One is housing, and as you look at the average price per home that in Teton County exceeding $800,000. How do we, and we have an aspiration of housing 65% of our workers here in our community. How do we find those solutions? And it's going to come primarily from the private sector, but how do we allow employers to find solutions for their employee housing? We see that well demonstrated up in the park, where all of those employees are housed at Jackson Lake Lodge and other places. But how do we do that throughout the rest of the community? That's one. And the second one is in transportation. We have a very limited road network here. We don't want to expand that road either in size or network. So how do we move folks more efficiently throughout our community? So we're looking at public transportation. Currently we have our START bus that is our public transportation. And for a small community of 22,000, we had ridership close to 1 million riders last year. Now with our integrated transportation plan, we're aspiring to expand that and double the ridership to 2 million riders, which is very ambitious. So how do we encourage that? We also have alternative transportation with bikes and pathways and ride share. But we also have to take a look at the roads and how can we be more efficient at our intersections so that people, when they come to visit us, aren't in a big traffic jam until they get into the park where they're dealing with a bear jam, which is very unique.
Absolutely, yes, it is unique for this area. Commissioner Vogelheim, thank you so much for visiting with us today on Charter Local Edition.
Thank you very much, Rose.
Charter Local Edition has been an exclusive presentation of Charter Communications.